Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers.
Hello and welcome back to ANN News Kids. This week on the headlines we have the Football World Cup 2022 and the final week, the aquarium in Germany that blasted, and the state of emergency declared in Peru because the president was ousted. In the Hungry for History segment, you're going to be learning all about Vikings, and in the Crazy Culture segment, you're going to be learning about debranding. In the Persona segment, we're talking about King Tutankhamun, the young pharaoh of Egypt. For the secondary headlines, we have the richest man in the world, Bernard Arnault, and we have the tourists stuck in Machu Picchu in Peru because of the state of emergency. There's also the Norwegian ship that's more than 100 years old, found at the bottom of a lake, and the fire in France that kills 10 people in an apartment block. I really hope you enjoy. This week, the interview segment, in the Priya to Career segment, we are interviewing Mr. Suraj Hirilal, who is an educator. I really hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment below because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you.
We make it happen. 'Cause we can see it. Here's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect. Oh yeah. Here's to the ones.
The last week of the FIFA World Cup brought a lot of excitement, sadness, and surprises. The finals were between France and Argentina, and the third place playoffs were between Croatia and Morocco, and Croatia won. And Morocco won. Morocco made history by becoming the first African and Arab nation to reach the semi-finals in a FIFA Football World Cup, which is incredible. What makes this World Cup so special? This time there were a lot more spectators than last time's World Cup in 2018. There was also the first female referee in a men's World Cup ever. And FIFA said that it was the best tournament ever. They're going to be changing a few more things for next time so that it can resemble this World Cup. FIFA said that it was organized really well, and the groups A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H were planned amazingly so that no one would know who was going to win until the last moment. Did you know that in 2030 it will be 100 years of FIFA World Cup? It will probably be held in Argentina or Uruguay, because Uruguay actually held the first World Cup ever in 1930. Peru entered a worse state of emergency as the country has a political crisis. This is a result of the ousting of the president, Pedro Castillo, on 7 December. He was ousted by the Congress because he had offered to dissolve the Congress and declare a state of emergency in the country, because at that time, Peru was also suffering. Now, the new president hasn't been doing much, and there are a lot of protests. These protests are really deadly and have already killed 20 people. The demonstrators are asking for the Congress to be dissolved and for the new president to resign. They are also hoping to have an earlier election, although the Congress has already ruled that out. This uncertainty is bringing a lot of bad things to the country, and a lot of tourists have been trapped as well. A giant aquarium that contained millions of liters in a hotel in Berlin, Germany, called Radisson Blu, burst open and injured 2 people because of the falling glass. There was a lot of damage because this aquarium was a cylindrical one and it was 15.85 meters high. It also was home to 100 different types of fish and about 1,500 fish in total. Not all of the fish have been rescued because of the freezing temperatures, but some of them who didn't die are being transported to other aquariums. There is a lot of damage in this aquarium and it's called the Aquadome. It was also described as the tallest freestanding cylindrical aquarium in the world by Guinness World Records. Now, police are going to try and figure out how it started, but it seems like it's because of the freezing temperatures that dropped to -6 degrees. Vikings were very famous for sailing huge distances from their home in Scandinavia between 800 and 1066 AD to raid and plunder, but they also traded with people from other countries. The name Viking means a pirate raid in the Old Norse language. Around 500 years before Christopher Columbus discovered the American continent, Vikings had already visited its shores, and they had already landed in what is now called Canada in around 1000 AD. Among the many gods, Vikings believed in Thor, the god of thunder. Vikings were good fighters with many weapons, such as spears, swords, and battle axes. The Vikings were expert boat builders and sailors. Keels, central spines along boats' bottoms, made their 16 to 37 meters long boats. They were easy to steer, and because they were designed to float high in the water, they were really good, and landing on beaches was easy. The Vikings spoke in a language called the Old Norse. 20% of the modern British words came from that Viking language, including happy, foot, and cake. Did you know that Fenrir Greyback, the werewolf in the Harry Potter books, was named after a ferocious giant wolf from the ancient Viking mythology? Viking children did not go to school. Everything was learned through stories, and long Viking stories were called sagas. I really hope you enjoyed these fun facts about Vikings, which you probably did not know before. King Tutankhamun was also known as King Tut, and is probably the most well-known Egyptian pharaoh. One of the reasons that he is so well known is because his burial tomb is one of the few discovered with everything still in it. It was very common for tomb raiders to steal all the treasures buried with the pharaohs, so very little has ever been found. King Tut lived from around 1341 to 1323 BC, and he was only 9 years old when he became the pharaoh. He was called the Boy King because of this. Tutankhamun's father was a very religious person. He changed the entire religion of the ancient Egypt to worship only the sun god Aten. He did that, and he changed 1,000 years of traditional Egyptian religion. He forced them to build a new capital city just in order to honor this god. Many people were unhappy because of these reforms, and King Tut and his advisors tried to change all of the changes that King Tut's father made. They even changed the religion back to what it was and brought the old temples back. Many people have tried to study King Tut's mummy and to see why he died, but no one has come up with anything definite. King Tut actually died at the age of 18, and there was very little information known about him. In 1922, the British psychologist Howard Carter discovered the burial tomb of King Tut, and this was the first tomb that had everything in it and was untouched. Ancient Egyptians believed that when a person died, they would enter an afterlife where they would live the same way they did when they were alive. His golden coffin was buried in the tomb of Valleys of Kings and was surrounded by 5,000 priceless treasures. I really hope you enjoyed. Have you noticed that companies like Warner Bros., Pringles, Lay's, and Burger King have changed their long-time iconic logos? Debranding is a branding strategy when a brand or corporation revamps its visual identity. Usually, the brand names may change or remove some visual identities, like the logo, which is redesigned. Usually, it's always how to make the logo bigger, but now the internet has constrained the dimensions of design logos and it's become way more complex as technology has changed. Earlier, it was difficult and expensive to print logos with many colors, so companies tended to stick with a few. When technology advanced, many logos became more complicated and colorful, but recently, companies have started changing the looks to make it more simple, making the logos more memorable and lets the companies more leeway and creativity. That's why many companies are doing debranding. Hi everybody, this week for the Future Career segment, we are interviewing Mrs. Suraj Hirilal, a person in Mauritius who is an educator but also makes films. I really hope you enjoy.
My name is Suraj. Suraj Hirilal. I'm an educator. I'm an educator now for for 18 years, I think now.
And can you tell me more about your job as an educator?
It's mainly to teach. I teach French language. That's why my English is not that good. I'm sorry. I teach French language. Um, I work with different classes from grade 7 to 13. Previously, I was working in research work at MOCA at MGI, but I opted for teaching very early. I was an educator. You know, this same story like inspired by your teachers and want to be a teacher and all. I really like my job. I got to meet a lot of students, a lot of people, a lot of individuals, families. Yeah, I what I really like is the connection we have. I like to meet people. In fact,
That's really nice. Wow.
Wow.
And could you tell us a bit about your journey? You talked about moving from MGI to where you are now. So why did you make that leap?
yeah, at MGI, I was working in a research department concerning musical instruments and all that. But I was not doing much as if what I really wanted to do. You know, I was a bit stagnant. Uh, it was an interesting job, but to meet the people and all that field work as well. But I don't know where I was not very much satisfied. I wanted to do something more. So I went for a private secondary school. Then I worked there. It was really very hard. Sometime I I was regretting my decision to leave MGI. But afterwards, I came to know I got a lot of friends and lots of opportunities. And I see my job was not only to teach. I always wanted to experience new things. So I participated in several competitions, some education contests, and everything, preparing students, talking to them, motivating them. Then I find out that it is much interesting not only to teach but to do something more for students.
And finally, could you tell us your advice for kids?
So my advice is to for students is to go to school to find themselves, not just learn. uh,
Mhm.
these
Oh,
academic subjects. Go to find yourself where you good, and find your skills. You know, I previously I had some talks, and I had a concept to go to work on. My concept name was light up your skills. Light up your
mhm.
skills. I had to I used to talk to students how
Mhm.
to recognize where you're good at, your
Wow.
skills, give some value for your skills. It's very important. You know, as students, as an student, I myself, I didn't get that much opportunity to work on my skills.
Mhm.
When I realized nowadays, when I'm a teacher, then I realized I could have done so many things.
Well,
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
it was great talking to you, learning about what you do as an educator and what you enjoy about it because it's really, really nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Respect. Oh yeah. It's to the one that can imagine. Respect.
Bernard Arnault, a French businessman, just became the world's richest man and the first European to make it as the top of the list. He just crossed Elon Musk and has a net worth of $171 billion. Elon Musk has a net worth of $164 billion. But Elon Musk just lost $107 billion this year because of the Twitter deal and uncertainty, as well as the neglecting of Tesla and SpaceX. Bernard Arnault is the chairman, the co-founder, and the chief executive of LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, which is the world's largest luxury goods collection. He rarely makes public appearances and is not even big on social media, which is why many people haven't heard of him. Around 300 tourists from around the world have been trapped in the ancient city of Machu Picchu in Peru following the ousting of the president that led the country into a state of emergency. All these tourists are really helpless right now, and the only way to get out of Machu Picchu is by train, which is now suspended until further notice. Now the mayor is trying to organize helicopter rides, but can only take 10 people at a time. The tourists are really angry, and some countries are too. The US and UK have spoken out. The US has put Peru as the level 3 reconsidered travel country, and the UK has already warned its citizens and residents about traveling to Peru. The Peru trains have already said that they're going to be helping the tourists to change their dates to travel. And there's already been some food shortages in Machu Picchu. Peru's tourism is the only way they get money because their economy relies 100% on tourism. So it's going to be really hard for Peru right now if they don't have many tourists. A fire in Lyon, in France, killed 10 people and 5 children, including. This fire started in an apartment building with 8 floors, and it started on the ground floor. It's unsure how it started, but the police are doing an investigation. They haven't ruled out anything, not even criminal intent. The people in the building tried their best to get out. They even started tying bed sheets in order to climb out of the windows. Unfortunately, not all of them could survive, and some are injured. At the bottom of the largest Norwegian lake, called Mjøsa, researchers found a shipwreck that is at least 100 years old and dates back from anywhere since the 1300s. This shipwreck is completely good condition and almost perfect, and it's been frozen in time. The researchers found this during the Mission Mjøsa, where they aimed to map out the entire lake using high-resolution sonar technology. Using this kind of technology, they discovered that this shipwreck is located 411 meters down, and its length is 10 meters. That is incredible. It's also a ship that uses Viking methods, and it was known as the clinker construction method. That's what Vikings used to make vessels and ships more lighter and stronger.